And now on the line, and no stranger to my podcast, is Gerben Uunk from the Party for Animal Welfare. Gerben is standing for the party in this year's general election in County Limerick. Gerben, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks so much for the honour.
Okay, Gerben, I know that you stood in the Limerick mayoral election a few months ago, and I interviewed you about that campaign. As today is the first time I've interviewed you since the Limerick mayoral election, can you tell our listeners, for those who don't know, about how that election for mayor of Limerick went for you?
Yeah, so it went remarkably well in this case, the interview. So I had 758 folks who voted, gave their first preference vote to me, which was, to my big surprise, like remarkably. And then, so I wasn't the last. I thought I would be ending up the last or something, but I wasn't. I was 13th out of the 15 candidates, so the lucky 13 in this case. 13th place, and which was great. And then so even John Moran, who was elected ultimately as mayor, he said that I ran a very positive campaign, which is great. And then unfortunately the count took place in the Limerick racecourse, and I told maybe the listeners would like to know that now the count will again take place in the Limerick racecourse, and now. Well, of course, I'm then from an animal welfare perspective, I'm against that being taking place at the race course, the count, because I'm against horse racing and greyhound racing and turkey racing and fox hunting and everything of that sort. Of course, yeah.
Okay, can you tell me a bit about your campaign in County Limerick this month and how the campaigning is going?
Yeah, so a good question. So yesterday I finally got my flyer, so which is printed to a local print shop. So Fitzsimons, a lady called Laura Buckley was really helpful in helping me with the design, and they also support me. Now yesterday I started flyering. I have a bit of help from somebody, lovely lady Miriam in Ballincarry, thankfully, and somebody else in Abbeyville is also supporting me, helping me with handing out flyers. But yesterday I was, so I decided, well, because the print shop is in Shannon Golden, so I thought I do Shannon Golden first. I have a strategy to go hit towns where I have not canvassed before, because I can't compete with the big boys, like hundreds of volunteers going door to door, and they have also huge budgets. So I do everything via crowdfunding.
Okay.
And so I've canvassed yesterday in Shannon Golden. I had a positive feedback from people on the door, and people said, "Oh, I voted for you last time around." But so they meant for the Limerick mayor election, obviously. And then next I went to Foynes. Foynes, you probably know Foynes from the harbour there, and the Flying Boat Museum, etc. And there are even a more positive like review even. So then even the local petrol station, the Circle K said, "Oh, you can leave some flyers." And said, they said, "You're the Dutchman who went for mayor." Yeah, I said, yes, I am. So it's great that you get some name recognition then.
Yeah.
So, if you like.
And your party has 3, maybe 4 candidates in the general election, don't you?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Possibly a fourth one, but it's not sure yet. And so we could hopefully reveal that next week.
I know we have another 2 weeks left in the general election, Gerben, and then a government and programme for government has to be put together. But are you disappointed with how the election is going so far on a national basis on the issue of animal welfare?
Yes, definitely, because I'm afraid that animal welfare will be put somewhere on the side burner, so that it would be shuffled somewhere. Let's say for argument's sake that the Greens are coming back into government and together with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, I hope not, but let's say they are. They're going to put some environmental measures forward, and then animal welfare will just be sidelined, which is really sad. I used to support, I used to be a member, I used to be a councillor for the Greens in Amsterdam. And then the listeners might be interested to know that. But the greens in Holland are a lot similar than the greens. A lot different. Excuse me, a lot different than the greens here in Ireland.
Okay.
So yeah, unfortunately, so yeah.
We could, I suppose, be surprised, and the next programme for government may be fairly good for animal welfare. Couldn't that could happen? Could it?
Yeah, it all depends. Like, for example, let's say if they say that Sinn Féin would lead the next government, but that remains to be seen. But let's say if Mary Lou McDonald gets the most seats, she might well be. Well, let's say if she does, about half the people in Sinn Féin are against, let's say, hair coursing and fox hunting, but it's still up to Jerry Adams and his echelon in Belfast or in County Louth, who's deciding where the bill will roll, if you like it. So then it remains to be seen if then, because I think, I'll speak to people that are from Sinn Féin as well, where some of them are against fox hunting as well.
Okay.
But it's still up to the central, the central office, if you like, if they will, because they want to be in bed, they want to rule the government, so they might sacrifice on animal welfare, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, Herman, it was good talking today for an update on your campaign.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Is there anything else you want to tell our listeners before you go?
No, it's just like, of course, give your number of votes. To me, for the voiceless animals for County Limerick, and of course, also Molly Candon for Sligo Leitrim, and also Carolyn Fahy for Meath East. And thank you so much. Yeah.
And now on the line is Carolyn Fahy. Carolyn is standing in the general election for the Party for Animal Welfare in Meath East. Carolyn, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Darren.
Carolyn, can you tell me how you got interested in the area of animal welfare and joined the party? Joined the Party for Animal Welfare?
I will do, Darren. I've always loved animals. Animals were always part of my family, as a child, literally right through adulthood until now. And I used to run a voluntary pet rescue from my home to help animals, abandoned animals, stray animals, and rehabilitate animals and get them out to new homes. So animals are a big part of my life and always will be. And how I found Party for Animal Welfare is because of my missing dog, stolen dog, in fact, Wuffy. I met Gerben, and Gerben was always a follower of Wuffy. He followed his group on Facebook, and he has been helping me look for Wuffy. And basically, I'm 4 years now still looking for Wuffy with no sign of him. And I had another dog stolen on me as well called Milo. And Gerben reached out and asked me would I be interested in joining, and of course I would, because animals are our family and very important to me. And our family is missing, so I understand what it feels like to have your family gone.
Okay.
And not to know. That's why I cover pet theft in my flyer, my campaign.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear about your two dogs getting stolen. It must be devastating.
Oh, Darren, there's no words. It's absolutely horrific. And there's no support out there for anybody who has got their animals stolen. It's not taken seriously, first of all. And you're told to just, replace it, go out and get another dog. We've better things to be doing, bigger things to be worried about than pet theft. And it was because the same person who stole Wuffy wasn't stopped, or no justice was served, and we never got Wuffy back. And as I say, it repeated history. He went out and he stole another dog, which was Milo. But because of that, we got involved with Muddy Paws crime, and Milo, thankfully, we found Milo, we got him home. But you know what, Darren, he was so traumatised, he was not able to tell us, obviously, what happened to him, that he sadly had a stroke. So we're fighting to get Milo home. He sadly passed away then, so it's awful,
And
double heartbreak.
Do you think it was the same person who robbed your two dogs?
Oh yeah, well, it's definitely the same person. We know who it was. We said it to the Gardaí back in 2020. We were not taken seriously. We actually do believe the Gardaí enabled the theft of our dogs. Look, we're still fighting on for justice for Wolfie. Wolfie would be 19 now. He'd be 20 next year. We don't believe, obviously, because of his age, that he is still with us. But we still have no closure, Darren. So it's a nightmare. And yeah, it's just, you know what, as I say, if it was taken seriously back in 2020, Wolfie would have been home and Milo wouldn't have been stolen. And we would have been all, together as a family, really.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Our neighbour's dog in Roscommon, my parents' holiday house in Roscommon, our neighbour, their friends, their dog was stolen a couple of years ago. The dog was actually blind. It was a big dog, kind of a Dulux dog, and like I don't know why anyone would want to steal a blind dog, but it was devastating for them,
Yeah, it's
Okay,
awful.
okay, Carolyn. I understand that you actually stood for the party of animal welfare in the local elections only a few months ago. And
That's correct.
you mentioned other work. Can you tell me what your work for animals today in general entails of, Carolyn?
I will do, Darren. My work, because of what happened to me and being a victim of stolen dogs, I went on to try and help other people kind of find their dogs and, support them and offer, advice and sympathy to them. So I became involved in Muddy Paws Crime, which is in the UK and Ireland. And our director is Lisa Lutz. We also have the team ladies, Karen Fields, Addie Summer, Tess Jones, Karen Sarah Hall and Lisa Smith. And they're mostly based over in the UK, but I'm the only person in Ireland. So what I basically reach out to people who have lost, stolen, missing dogs, especially stolen, and we just basically set up groups and support chats to them people to offer them advice on what to do, where to go, and try to take as much stress away from them, And basically there is no, as you know, here in Ireland, there's no mental health services, and if there is, you're going to be years waiting on them. So a lot of people would suffer from depression, and they're grieving the loss of their family. They worry, the stress never goes, and in most cases, some cases, we've been lucky enough to get their animals back to them, but then the animals themselves have gone through trauma, so they're not able to tell us what happened to them, or they would be going through stress themselves, and our the director of Muddy Paws Crime, her partner he deals with dogs, their behaviour problems after being stolen and all that. So we offer, support to the people and their animals, to kind of be a voice for the voiceless people who are afraid to speak up, who are afraid to look for their animals, and then when they do get them back, they're still afraid. It will happen again, and it is happening again, Darren, because since COVID lockdown, pet theft is at crisis level, and it's not being taken seriously. Like we're overcrowded, overwhelmed with the amount of animals getting stolen, sadly still to today. So I'm 24/7 on kind of chats, calls to people, reaching out, trying to keep them strong, keep looking for their dogs. So that's where dogs, cats, horses, everything is going, Darren. It's not just it's not just dogs, unfortunately. And then we do animal welfare as well in Muddy Paws Crime, and now because I'm with Party for Animal Welfare, we're doubling that because we're all working together in a circle to try and combat it,
I've done several interviews with, Lisa O'Connor and John O'Callaghan.
Yeah.
John O'Callaghan from Dog Advocacy Ireland and Lisa O'Connor from the group Missing Stolen Animals Ireland. I've done several radio interviews with them, so I know the two of them. So I've been doing interviews about pet theft for a couple of years. So today talking to you is my latest interview about the issue. It's a huge issue, It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you're saying it's not just dogs getting stolen; it does happen to other animals as well, is it?
Yes, sadly, Darren, it's not just dogs, it's cats, it's rabbits, it's horses, and it can be livestock. It can also be, like, a lot of people say pets. A pet can be a pet lamb, it can be a pet goat, it can be a donkey. So yes, sadly, anything that's worth money, or not just for breeding purposes, there's other horrible consequences, or how would you say, there's other horrible scenarios behind it, like monetary gains and power and control by these animals are being stolen, and also for illegal evictions as well, because the way with rents going up, a lot of landlords don't like animals in the apartments or houses, and they've tried to force tenants out by animals going missing. It's unbelievable. It depends on, if you had a lot of time, you try to book on it, definitely. But it's, as I say, it's for everything and anything. And some of the cases are so horrific that you couldn't even, I don't even think you could say them on air, to be honest with you. We are, because we actually were looking for our 2 stolen dogs, we became homeless. We were illegally locked out of our home in July 22, and we are currently living in emergency accommodation. And we can't have our 2 dogs with us. We are lucky enough to have friends minding our dogs, but there is no help for people who, in my circumstances or other, who have lost their homes and not able to take their dogs with them. So that's another thing as well to be covered.
You're in emergency accommodation. That must be tough, is it?
Oh, it's awful, Darren. And we see the way the people are actually treated and the living conditions of emergency accommodation across Ireland. Like you're lucky to get a roof over your head, and that's what you're told. So they won't even tolerate the fact that you have a fur family, which we do, and there's nowhere you're forced. Look, I mean, we're lucky we have really good friends, and our friends are looking after our dogs, and thank God for that. But there's a lot of people who are forced not only to have they lost their homes, their possessions, their lives, but they're also losing their fur family. And it's traumatizing for the people involved and for the animals because, obviously, it's beyond heartbreaking. But they don't have choices. So these emergency accommodations, you're lucky to get a roof over your head, but you won't be able to take your dogs with you. And there's no accommodation or no shelters or anywhere that will actually take dogs in, while these people are homeless. And as you know yourself, the dog pounds, the rescues, they're all out the door. They're overcrowded with XL bully ban and everything else that's happening. Like, the help is just not there, Darren, and it's actually getting worse. And then if you go to rent a place with dogs, if any of them dogs are on the dangerous list, an ex-bully or, any of the dangerous dogs list, or even just a normal domestic dog, that's not, it's very, very hard to get accommodation to rent. Once you say you're a dog owner, you're gone. They don't want to know about you.
I'll be getting an apartment soon from the council after waiting for a long time, but I don't think I'll be able to keep a dog. I haven't got a dog myself at the moment. The main reason is I don't drive a car, so I haven't got a partner. It's a bit inconvenient if you don't have either of those things, So, but I think they told me a few weeks ago that I won't be able to have a pet. I would love to. I had dogs over the years in the house, but I won't be able to keep a dog in the apartment,
And it's great for mental health. If anyone suffers from mental health or depression, they rely on their dog because the dog might be, or it might be a cat, might be the only company they have, might be the only family they have. So you take that away, it's bad for the person's mental health. If you're lucky enough to be on the mental health list in Ireland, you're talking years. And then the animal itself is ripped away from everything it knows. It's just, it's heartbreaking, Darren, absolutely. And it's only because of what happened to us, so I have a bigger understanding of it, which actually pushed me for the local elections and now general elections too, because we're actually living it, we're seeing it every day.
I was just going to ask you that, Carolyn. It's great talking to you today. Can you tell me more about your general election campaign this month?
I will do, Darren. It depends how much time you have. It's a big one. But look, obviously, the main points are pet theft and its devastating consequences, which we kind of touched off there. It's overturned the bully ban because it's unfair to humans and the dogs, and there has to be a better solution than just going around killing dogs. So I definitely want that overturned and a better approach to it. And then I want to ban all blood sports. I have no tolerance for blood sports. They're barbaric. I don't understand how anyone can pump money into watching animals being ripped apart. I think that I personally feel the money could be put in the areas where our crisis levels at the moment, which we just addressed there. And then it's basically the homeless people and homeless animals, because if you've got a homeless family here and they have animals, you've got homeless people and animals. Where do they go? The lack of accommodation for both. People are out in the streets, animals are being dumped, they're strayed. Then, as I say, they're being stolen. It's like, the shelters can't keep up with the animals. There's animals and they're reaching out for people to adopt. And they can't keep up with the demand or the crisis levels. And then you have the animals getting stolen. You say, why is this happening? If there's so many animals out there, why is this, So look, it's basically, it's to touch off everything, Darren, and we talked to a lot of people who are going through far worse, situations than ourselves. And we see it every day, because when we're dealing in Muddy Paws crime, people are reaching out to us morning, noon and night. And it's desperate. The situation has to change. We're people, yes, we can voice, we can, raise our voice, we can, do our best, right to here, right to there, looking for help, but animals can't. And then some people are afraid to. They're afraid to speak out and ask for help. So look, that's basically what I'm doing in my campaign, Darren, to the best of my knowledge and experience.
And now on the line is Molly Candon. Molly is standing in the general election for the Party for Animal Welfare in Sligo, Leitrim. Molly, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me.
Okay, Molly, can you tell me how you got interested in the area of animal welfare and joined the Party for Animal Welfare?
Yeah, so I've always been an animal lover, like a lot of people in Ireland. I want to do what's best for them. I try to live my life in a green way. I've volunteered with animal charities when I can. And with my busy life, I wanted to think, what can I do? What can I give? Sorry, I haven't heard this very well. What can I do to help animals? So really, I was just looking online. What are the laws for animals at the moment? What if someone wants to change the laws? How do we go about that? I came across this party, the Party for Animal Welfare, and that's what they're looking at. So that's why I joined.
Okay, Molly, what are you as a candidate calling for in this election?
Yeah, so I have some key policies. So I want to end grants to greyhound and horse racing. I want to ban blood sports. One thing I'm really particularly interested in is supporting pet owners in housing, and I might come back and explain that one a bit more if that's okay, but I'll just go through my other policies. Stop animal testing and experimentation, monitor animal welfare on farms, redirect subsidies towards sustainable agriculture, establish a Department of Animal Welfare, and incorporate animal welfare into education. So if it's okay if I talk about pet owners in housing for a moment, and why landlords shouldn't be allowed to disqualify pet owners from renting. So we're a nation of animal lovers. Around half of Irish households share their homes with at least one pet. And for many, these pets aren't just animals, they're family. So that's why we need to create laws that reflect this reality and protect pet owners in the housing market. So at the moment, if you're a family with a pet and you're renting and your circumstances change, like your landlord wants to sell, or you need to move for work, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to bring your pet with you. It was last year that the Dogs Trust reported an 80% increase in the number of people forced to surrender their pets because they couldn't find rental accommodation that allowed animals. So these are not people that want to give up their pets. So it's an incredibly heart-wrenching situation for them themselves. And at the same time, our animal shelters are already overwhelmed. So they're struggling to rehome dogs and cats currently in their care. The last thing we need to do is add more animals being added to that burden, especially when there's nowhere for those animals to go. The majority of landlords don't allow pets, which leaves very few options for rehoming.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on a bit of a rant. What I think we really need to do is shift how we view rented accommodation. For renters, they're not just renting a house; it's their home. They should have the right to live a fulfilling life, just like anyone who owns their own property. It's difficult to buy a house in today's market, but that doesn't mean that their lives or their relationship with their pets should be put on hold. So that's why I'm advocating for a change in the law. Landlords should not be allowed to refuse tenants simply because they have pets. Pet ownership is part of our culture, and it's time for our housing policies to reflect that.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Carolyn Fahy, one of your other candidates, only in the last
Yeah.
couple of hours, and she's talking about the same issue. Okay, when you say one of your policies is to call for a Department of Animal Welfare, do you mean some kind of authority for animal welfare?
Yeah, so at the moment, animals, some of it is taken care of by the Department of Agriculture or the Department of Environment. But I think we need a particular Department of Animal Welfare that is covering animals in all cases, so wild animals, domestic animals, the pets, and farm animals, so that there isn't anyone or any animal slipping through the gap, that there's a body there that's looking out for their best interests.
I know that's something a lot of animal welfare activists believe. There should be some kind of animal welfare authority that's responsible for everything to do with animals. That's what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
and
Yeah.
obviously they can liaise with the Department of Agriculture, they can liaise with the Department of Environment, and a lot of the issues would be across different departments, but yeah, that there would be
Okay.
a sort of catch-all.
Okay, Molly, can you tell me more about your campaign this month as regards what you're doing for it?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to create awareness online. We're a small party; we don't have a lot of resources or anything like that, so I'm just trying to spread the word online, get my policies out there. And if anyone wants to talk to me, they can message me on Facebook. I've had people message me already with questions, so I'm happy to talk to anyone.
Are you going to be doing any canvassing?
I'm not this time. I
Okay.
just I don't have the time or the resources, unfortunately. I might touch on it, just a few more things around pet ownership if you have
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, okay.
So one thing that I feel like we strongly need was around pet ownership in Ireland. There's other areas that need attention as well. So, for example, we need to ensure that cats and dogs are allowed on public transport nationwide. At the moment, they are allowed on trains, but when it comes to buses and the Lewis, it's left to the discretion of the driver. So, it's very frustrating if you need to bring your dog to the vet or if you need to bring your pet somewhere. You shouldn't have to worry about whether will you be allowed or will you not be allowed on the bus. It's not consistent either way. So I think we need clear, consistent policies that make it easier for pet owners to arrange travel with their animals.